I don't think that not too many people will argue with me when I say that the most valuable thing that Curator has are its sets of rules. But that's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because there are always so many of them. How do I manage them? How do I search for it? What else can I do? What is, my MITRE coverage? With so many rules, it is hard to do it in the old interface in no way. And that's why everybody that likes Curator should be using the Use Case Manager app. And this is one of the things when I get whoa by something new being done. This is truly remarkable, and I hope that even by the introductory video that I'm doing on this, you will agree with me. When you install this, either for the first time or if you migrated from a previous version of it, you need to make sure that when you go here on the admin tab on this configuration piece, you need to wait. Probably after you do it, you're going to see in progress here, and probably on the cache clearance also in progress. You need to wait until that completes. You may be asked to provide a token, and because this app now goes every night into the App Exchange and retrieve what's out there, so when it consults, it doesn't have to make the external API for performance. You need to make sure that you have your credentials on the export exchange to get there, to allow the Curator piece to go there. Another piece is, and of course for that, if you have a proxy, you need to provide that proxy configuration information in here. Another thing that is very important is that after you've been playing with this, you're going to have a lot of mappings and MITRE, and this is going to be excellent for doing that. But what happens if for any reason you uninstall this app? You're going to lose all those mapping. In order to avoid that, make sure that you export those in a regular basis after you do significant work on MITRE. So if you install again, you can actually import those back in. When you click on the Use Case Manager, and I'm going to go with some navigation tips to make sure that you don't get lost, you are greeted by the templates. And these templates are really, wasn't a fan of them until I got to know them better. And the templates, you can either watch them all, or you can have them classify by, for example, MITRE. This grouping is actually put, instead of all of them, put some of the templates separated. That this one is really spectacular. More on that later. How do I get stuff that I don't have from the App Exchange? And you, for example, if I select that one, you would only see those recommended templates. If I go here, you're going to see them all, right? So when you are in a particular template, on a particular section, and you want to go back to, switch and go into another template, you do so by clicking on this icon here. Okay, that takes you back there. Now, if you are into a view that has some graphics, for example, if you are into the coverage map and report for MITRE, and you want to actually, well, a couple of things while I'm in here. One is that if you need more space, you can always get rid of the filter column, and there you have more space. And you can actually make this full screen by going in here, right? And you can zoom in and zoom out and make it fit the way you want it. Let's say I want to have all in one page to get a print screen, you can actually do that. You can exit from that expansion, but if you want to go back to your previous view of the listing instead of the graphic, you do so by clicking on that eye. Okay, let's go back to the default templates. Another thing that is important to know, in case that you are not aware of, is that the tuning app is still there, and as you know, there are separate videos. If you go into any one, you probably know this, but in all my videos there's a link to the public box folder, and in it, go here to the second page, and you'll find this PDF, and I'm actually adding a section just for the Use Case Manager, because this is so remarkable that I think it is well useful to get that. Of course, the new videos are not there because I'm in the process of making them right now, but you will see Use Case Manager version 3.0 in here. If you click on this gear here on the left on the user preferences, if you don't like the dark mode, you go here in my sunglasses now, but you still have the old way if you don't like this dark thing. But there's also another piece that is interesting. If you want to have lots of information on the screen, you choose this compact, and notice that more things fit in here. In fact, I can actually go here and make that larger, and then you get more information fitting on the screen, and you can change from compact to short to tall or none. I particularly like the none. I think is a nice compromise on the usage of the space and amount of information shown on the screen. In the Use Case Manager, they call this list of findings a report, and if you want to download any one of those, you click in here and you export those in a CSV file for documentation purposes. Let's bring the filters back by clicking in here. So let's say that you are doing some filtering here, which are really very interesting. So let's say I'm looking for rules that apply to TRICOM and Akamai. Whenever you make a change or add a filter, notice that it comes here on that kind of white background type of color. You need to, whenever there is something, a filter that you haven't applied, you need to click here. You see that this blue thing will show up, this apply filters. And only when you click into it is that filter will be applied. And you don't have to worry about when to apply. You'll see it clearly indicated whenever you are navigating into this that you need to click there. Another navigation tip, whenever you have a view, like for example that one, you have the option of splitting your screen and have some text here on the button and the graphics on the top of, you can collapse this completely or bring it all the way up, or and that will happen automatically when you close that graphic. Also, in any report where you are, you can click on this gear right here, not the one on the left, but this one on the right, and you have the capability of adding different columns. And not only you can actually add, for example, I want to have all the content extensions where I got those rules, but you can actually drag that and bring it all the way to the top and apply that, and here you have it in that way. Also, you have the capability now of grouping your rules, as you saw me doing in here, and then when you expand in here, you see the details there and more on the rules and how well let's actually go in there. Everywhere that you go, even for the stuff that you have installed or you don't have, or you haven't installed, you have the capability of looking at the details of the actual rule, the test conditions in here, without having to go to the traditional editor. You see the notes on it, you see the MITRE attack and technique, you see the grouping information, the rule actions. It's actually very nice. The rules respond. So this thing fires this rule contributes to an offense. Actually, that is the case, and here is even on the naming, rule limiters, rule details. I mean, it's really, you get all the details without having to go in it. And in here, it even shows you what are the log source types that work with this specific rule. As you see, it's a very generic one, botnet, so therefore there are plenty of log sources, and you can expand them here and see all of the log sources that you can have working on this particular rule. Very, very powerful. Let's close that. I'm going to clear all the filters to go to all my rules in my demo system. of course, to ungroup them, all I need to do is click here on the actual button again, and you can configure what are the things that you want to group by. Right? Is the first thing on the left is the first column that you have on the left is the one that you're going to be grouping, but you can have multiple levels of nesting in it, and you can actually say, well, show me the totals on those rules, and click here apply, and then what you see is you see those numbers, and you can actually click on it and see every one of those rules. So you lose the detail on the left because you are grouping by that, but you don't worry, you get all those details by clicking in here. Very nice. If I want to go back to my default template, I'll just do it like that. So these are my 130 rules. If you want to look for one specifically, you can specify the name of it, parts of the name, and here you have them, right? So you can, as show you before, you can see the details. I wanted just to show you this graph in which you can actually show not just the rule and the building blocks that it depends on, but also the reference sets that it uses. And if you want to see the custom properties, and if they are being used, they're going to be shown there in that color. And if you want to see the log source type, it's also going to be shown on that color as well. Now, also another thing that you can do is that you can actually edit rules, and you don't have to necessarily edit just one at a time. You can actually say, well, I want to edit this because let's say I'm going to change the miter mappings. Well, you actually go here and select this one, and you will have them one by one there. You can, particularly for people that work in multi-domains, you can just click here on duplicate, and you're going to have them duplicated with that name of copy of there. So that feature of doing the multiple edits on more than one rule at a time. For example, if we want to open them in the rules wizard, let's select those three, and we do that just to show you on the navigation. Here is the first one that I selected, as we see here. Here is the third one, yeah, and here is the second one, and here's the third one. So you can actually do that in bulk. So I'm going to stop it here. This is just an introduction of the remarkable navigation that these guys put behind this app, because I'm going to be showing you features in the next videos, and I don't want to get you lost on the navigation. And I almost forgot one more tip for navigation. Let's say that I'm in one of the graphics, for example, on this coverage map and report, and I want to add to this filter, for example, bypass user access control. You see it here. But if I want to add another filter besides this one, hit the control key, and for example, I'm going to click this one, and then the other one shows up. Otherwise, when you click, if you don't click control, then this one will replace the last one that you added, right? So when you click control, you can add as many as you actually want.